everybody, this is Kirsten with Field Farm and Forest. It's April 20th. The snow's not gone. There's still a lot of snow. This week was a little bit warmer. We did have a few temperatures that were 40s, 50s. The bees were flying, but it's not really bee weather yet. I'm standing still on snow in front of the beehives. They're not covered with snow. The snow has gone off the platform, but I haven't taken the wrap off yet. It's about 34 degrees right now, 10 a.m. And I don't have any plans to take it off yet for a little bit. But I have to be gone for the day till late. And today I'm going to feed them some powdered pollen. It's still too early to feed the bees anything that would stimulate brood. But the other day when they were flying, I did see some little pollen pants. So they are getting pollen out there. I know at one time I told you the first pollen in the UP was maple trees, but I stand corrected. I've learned this year that the first pollen is actually from the pussy willows, and those have bloomed. And there's a second one too. I think it was aspen. I'm not sure. I'll have to check that up. So maple is actually the third pollen source. And the maple trees have not bud yet. So it is still officially maple season if people are out there, but we're done. We're done. It's been a long snowy winter and we're done with maple syrup. But I have this dry bee feed. It's just a pollen substitute. So it's just pollen. There's no... Oh shoot, this one says brood booster. Now I have a dilemma. It's supposed to be, 50 degrees. Today is Monday. Tomorrow it's supposed to be in the 40s and then rise after that. Do I jump the gun? I really hadn't planned on doing any brood boosting for another week. So it's actually 24 hours later and it's almost 50 some degrees. And you know what they say in the UP, if you don't like the weather, wait till tomorrow. So it's so much warmer today that I've decided that I am going to go ahead and give them the pollen stimulating now. So I didn't give them this pollen, dry pollen, yesterday because it said brood booster and it's super early. I wasn't quite ready to give them the brood booster when it was 32 degrees. But today it's 60 or today it's like 50 degrees and it just shows 59 degrees and above. I think we have one night, like tomorrow morning it'll be 32 degrees and then from there it just rises, nothing in the 30s again. Everything is all 40s, 50s and 60s from here on out. So because I did see the pollen on the bees the other day, they're bringing their own pollen in. They have a need for it. They're bringing it in. So I am going to put some of this dry pollen. Usually at this time, I would just give them dry pollen, bee feed that was not brood boosting, but I guess I'm going to jump the gun a little bit. And because I am going to jump the gun, I'm going to go ahead and give them a little bit of a pollen patty too. So let's do that. And I don't want them to get cold, so I'm going to leave the blanket on for another few days. probably don't need the quilt box anymore. Take that off. Well, I was just gonna put the feeder in there. That'll work for them. Oops. Maybe it doesn't set down flat enough. These are handy little things. I've got a couple of them. You put the pollen here, the bees can get it from the bottom, but they don't actually come into here. See if they can get in at the bottom. Alright, this might be a catastrophe, but let's see. Hi guys. Hello. Are you hungry? They definitely have enough. I was worried they weren't going to have enough, and I gave them more, a couple weeks ago. I'll just put that pollen patty there. And put this here. This little feeder on top. Right there. I think this is why I still had the quilt box in, because I still have their jacket on, their winter jacket. I'm gonna put it on upside down. There. Now they have a pollen patty, they have dry pollen, and I'm just gonna leave them alone for another week. So I've come to the conclusion that beekeeping isn't about reading the right books, following the right people. It's about being connected to nature. It's being connected to your seasons and being able to read what's going on in your environment. It's being able to read what's going on in your beehive. And I know this last winter I learned a really hard lesson with that storm, and I didn't, get the beehive secure, losing that one hive just to the lid coming off in the wind. That was hard. And then I do know that the hives that I lost before were because I had absolutely no idea that as a beekeeper, I needed to be in them even in the winter. I had followed a beekeeper who was from a cold weather bee environment, and he's like, well, as long as they have 50 pounds and you pick it up and they've got 50 pounds, they should be good till spring. Well, they're a little farther south than we are. The beehive was a little different. So it's all this huge learning curve, and everybody that I interact with, they're like, buy my book, come to my class. But, sometimes that doesn't fit into your life. So I'm learning to read my environment, read my bees, care for my bees like the precious little gifts that they are, and nurture them. So anyway, done with the philosophy lesson. This is Kirsten. I'm gonna leave my bees alone for about a week and be back in and look at them. So hopefully I can take you along with me. So If you like what you see and you live in the north and you do bees and gardening and chickens and whatever else we do up here in the north, follow me. Follow us. Got a little Gen X humor in there. Oh my gosh. Speaking of which, I was looking for a simple, inexpensive, waterproof coating for my signs, right? And I thought I had it. Simple. Silicone, mix it with some paint thinner, stir it up, paint it on your signs, let it dry. Simple, right? Well, I don't have any paint thinner. I have some over probably at the cottage, but I don't here. So I went to the store today and I found this bottle of paint thinner substitute, odorless paint thinner substitute. I opened it, poured in with my silicone. It's white. How am I gonna paint a clear coat my signs with white, odorless paint thinner substitute? The guy at the front desk, I'm like, is it gonna work like regular paint thinner? He's like, I don't know. They don't let us sell the real stuff. So, this is Kirsten. I will talk to you later. See you on the next one. Bye.